Anthony Joshua says that if Tyson Fury sticks to his game plan, he can beat Deontay Wilder in the rematch. So I'm going to quote Anthony Joshua directly here. He said, Fury has taken some relatively soft touch fights to get his confidence back, and he's going into the new year as a new man with a new team and a new mindset. He must feel something within him that's new, and he wants to be the new heavyweight champion. He can beat Wilder providing he follows his game plan for 12 rounds. Wilder has shown that you can't blink for a second with him because it only takes one punch. A good boxer who is young, fresh, and can follow a game plan can be victorious for X amount of rounds against Wilder. Boxing is about hitting and not getting hit. Ortiz got hit with a big punch, but Fury is evasive, a lot bigger, flicks out his jab. He is quite difficult to hit. Fury fought Wilder the first time after a long layoff. So those are the words of Anthony Joshua. Now, I agree with him that Fury can beat Wilder in the rematch if he sticks to his game plan, but it depends what that game plan is, because Tyson Fury has brought in a new coach, Javan Sugar Hill, and his cousin and perhaps co-trainer Andy Lee and Fury himself have kind of been alluding to the possibility that Fury might hold his feet more in this fight and try and actually hurt Deontay Wilder, perhaps go for the knockout. Now, the inference seems to be that he's not going to get a decision over Deontay Wilder in America. I personally think that is erroneous thinking from Tyson Fury if he's genuinely looking to hold his feet more. First of all, he's now signed with Top Rank and Bob Arum. They've got a lot of weight in the United States, ESPN. Okay, so he's got a lot more going for him this time politically than he did in the first fight. And even in the first fight, if he'd stayed on his feet, he would have won. If it weren't for those two knockdowns, in fact, if it weren't just for one of the knockdowns, if he hadn't got dropped in the 12th, he would have won the fight on the judges' scorecards. Facts. So I think it's overkill by Tyson Fury thinking, oh, I can't get a decision and they robbed me and this, that, and the other. I think that's overkill. I think that's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I think all he needs to do is the same as he did last time. Just do it a bit better. Just be sharper than last time, a bit quicker on his feet than last time. You know, all this stuff that his dad, John Fury, is saying about Tyson needs to come in heavier. I think that is absolute madness. At the elite level in boxing, you're talking about fractions of a second. A fraction of a second can make the difference between winning and losing, especially when you're standing in front of somebody like Deontay Wilder, who has tremendous punching power. So if you're that split second slower on your feet, your reactions are that split second slower because you're carrying extra weight or because you're focused on, landing hard counters yourself rather than staying elusive, you could end up getting clipped by one of those Wilder right hands early, So again, I think that if Fury is genuine about holding his feet more and trying to do more damage, I think that plays into Deontay Wilder's hands. Don't get it twisted. He might be able to do more damage, but he's also allowing Wilder to do more damage to him if he fights that way. And in a shootout between Wilder and Fury, I'm taking Deontay Wilder every time. He's more proven in shootouts as far as being clinical and being able to end a fight in a shootout. Yeah, his power is such. So it all depends on the game plan that Tyson Fury adopts. If he adopts the same game plan as first time, I agree with Anthony Joshua. He can win the fight. And in my mind, he might even be favorite. Of course, Deontay Wilder can make adjustments too. As I've said in previous videos, Wilder just needs to box with Fury. He shouldn't force the punches. He shouldn't, go looking for the knockout at every opportunity. He should box with Fury. As the old adage goes, you can't hook with a hooker, but you can jab with a jabber. I think Deontay Wilder needs to jab with Tyson Fury. Trust the process. We know Deontay Wilder's patient. We've seen him be patient in many, many fights. I mean, he'll go late into a fight, be behind on the cards, but he'll stay patient, waiting for that perfect opportunity to land the right hand. Deontay Wilder very much reminds me of Randall Bailey in that sense. I mean, I remember watching Randall Bailey when he fought, what's the guy's name? Mike Jones. And Randall Bailey was basically doing the exact same thing Wilder did in the Ortiz fight, which was literally nothing. For the whole fight, Randall Bailey was just, he had that right hand cocked, but he wasn't doing anything with it. He was just waiting for the perfect moment. And then late in that fight, bang, one moment, and was it Mike Jones? I can't remember the guy's name now. I think it's Mike Jones. He was flat on his back. His face was a mask of blood from one right hand off Randall Bailey. Randall Bailey was a tremendous puncher at 140 and 147. So, yeah, we know Deontay Wilder's patient, but I think he's going to need to be more proactive in this fight than he was in the Ortiz fight. That stuff he did against, so that's not going to work against Tyson Fury. At least not if Tyson Fury's boxing. If Fury decides he wants to go for a knockout, then maybe it will work. But if Fury decides to box the same way as he did first time, not throwing any punches like Wilder did against Ortiz, it's not going to work. It's going to play into Fury's hands. He's going to need to box with him, trust the process, be patient, but be patient boxing. Be patient jabbing with him. Just play that game. And of course, Tyson Fury is going to showboat. And Deontay Wilder says that, the showboating influenced the judges and influenced the crowd. And I agree. Because I didn't see it as this big robbery that everybody else did. Yeah, I thought the fight was genuinely close. I had no issue with a draw. But I do feel as though Tyson Fury's body language and his, bravado and showboating had a psychological influence on what people were watching. But if you actually look at the fight dispassionately in terms of who was actually landing punches, there's hardly anything to split them in most of the rounds. Now, people talk about ring generalship, and they say that that's one of the criteria that judges use to score rounds. Well, ring generalship, they say, this is the definition that I've heard some commentators use. They say that ring generalship is when a fighter is doing more of what he wants to do than his opponent. Okay, so ring generalship really is open to interpretation, and it's really open to the discretion of the judge. At the end of the day, nothing trumps who's landing the more clean, effective punches. And of course, all judges don't score fights the exact same way. Some of them may be more swayed by ring generalship, and others may be more swayed by who's landing the clean, effective punches. Ultimately, if you've got two guys in there and they're landing a similar amount of punches, but one guy's punches are doing way more damage and he's stalking the other guy and making him move more than he wants to, then I would say he's the ring general. Not just because he's moving forward, but because when he lands his shots, they're having more of an effect. Even though the other guy's landing an equal number of punches, the other guy doesn't want to be going backwards. He preferably wants to come forwards in this particular hypothetical scenario I'm talking about. He preferably wants to be going forwards, but the power of this guy is intimidating him, so he's now fighting backwards. And even though he's landing his shots, they're not really hurting the other guy. In that instance, I could say, okay, the guy doing more damage, even though it's a kind of equal number of punches both guys are landing, he's the ring general because he's doing more damage and he's making the other guy fight on the back foot when he doesn't really want to. But with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder is no issue coming forward. Yeah, in the first Tyson Fury, he had no issue coming forward. It's not like he didn't want to come forward. It's not like he doesn't like boxing in the middle of the ring. So, yeah, I do feel as though the showboating, the bravado and all that kind of stuff had a very big influence over what people thought they were seeing. In the rematch, I think Deontay Wilder might need to engage in some showboating of his own, to be honest. And maybe he was so focused on a knockout and so focused on being the bad guy that he let Tyson Fury kind of upstage him a little bit with the theatrics. So if he introduces some theatrics of his own, like there was moments in the first fight where Wilder landed some real solid jabs and actually bloodied Tyson Fury's nose. If you watch the fight back, it's available on YouTube for anybody to watch. You watch the fight back in the early rounds, he busts Tyson Fury's nose with like a real hard jab at one point in the early rounds. At moments like that, Tyson Fury will probably be clowning if he did that to Deontay Wilder. But Wilder just hit him with a shot and didn't make a meal of it. Well, when you're fighting someone like Tyson Fury who has that much sway over the crowd, maybe even some judges, right? By way of his theatrics and his larger-than-life personality, you need to try and play him at his own game. by way of also acting up when you've landed a good punch and making sure the whole crowd and the whole arena have seen what you've just done to the guy. Yeah, so from a strategic point of view, from a psychological point of view, I think that might be a good idea for Deontay Wilder to, do some of that himself. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Going to be interesting to see what strategies both guys come up with and who wins the fight. So, yeah, not long now, how long? 2 months now? Couple months, just under. So, we look forward to it and see who comes out victorious this time. Hopefully not a draw. And to be honest with you, I hope there's such a conclusive ending to this rematch that we don't get the third fight immediately. See, I've got no issue with trilogies. I love trilogies. Like Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield had a great trilogy. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier had a great trilogy. But those trilogies weren't forced. You understand? Those trilogies, there was a certain amount of time in between each fight. Now, of course, between the first and second Wilder and Fury fight, we've got a decent amount of time. But between the second and third, if there is a third, they're talking about having an immediate rematch, right? At least that's in the contract. The loser can, execute the rematch clause and get an immediate rematch. I don't like that. I don't like the trilogy happening in such a short space of time. With Riddick Bowe and Holyfield, they had their first fight. Holyfield went away, licked his wounds. He fought a rematch with Alex Stewart. Then he came back and fought Riddick Bowe the second time and beat him. And then their third fight was, again, several fights down the line after that. Same thing with Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. They didn't have all their 3 fights back to back to back, or even 2 of them back to back. No, there was gaps in between them. So that is when a trilogy happens organically. Whereas this, if it turns into a trilogy, it feels a little bit forced. So I'm hoping that we get a conclusive, ending to this rematch, whereby there's not really any calls for a trilogy. Or if there is a trilogy, it's going to happen, couple years down the line. That's what I'm hoping for. Because there are so many other heavyweights in the division who I'd like to see Wilder and Fury fight, other than each other. Yeah? Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.